tomorrow, not
Of KS or advertisers. If something is said with which you disagree, please let us know by writing to us at comments@ksco.com.
I've been a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn and a king. I've been up and down and over and out. And I know one thing. Each time I find myself flat on my face, I pick myself up and get back in the race. That's life.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum coming to you from KSCO Radio, and that's life, and that's Frank Sinatra. And, I was just thinking about life today and what a change it's been over the last several years. And just, everybody has their own things that they've been going through. And I really want to encourage people to get the most out of what they can right now. I'm going to read a little bit of the words of this song. It's I've been a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn, and a king. I don't know about you, but I've been all of those this morning. I woke up at 2:30, couldn't sleep. My mind was all excited about the show today and some other stuff going on. And, it's this, you go up and down and over and under. And, I've been up and down and over and out. And I know one thing. Each time I find myself flat on my face, I pick myself up and get back in the race. That's life. And you can't deny it, So I really love this song because, life has its ups and downs. And if you let yourself get under the circumstances, it's very difficult to get out from under them. So today I have some really exciting news. Dr. Dan Pompa, who you've heard me talk about many times in this show, he's basically the leading authority on cellular detoxification, looking for the upstream cause for disease. What causes disease? He's so clearly defined it. And anywhere you look, you can find out that the cause of chronic disease, chronic disease has one cause, chronic inflammation. And, there was up until the I don't know if it was the pharmaceutical companies or the CDC or somebody changed the diagnosis codes. There was 1,482 named diseases, and all of them had one cause, and that's inflammation, chronic inflammation, setting off the genes, bad genes turning on genetic disease, or, depending on what you're afflicted with, you're going to challenge your body to be able to heal itself. So Dr. Dan Pompa he's got the fastest growing natural health care coaching system on the planet. I mean, it is going straight up and vertical. And he's probably going to be on my show next week or the week after before we kick off this great event that he's planning and running through my office, the only office on the planet to be doing it. So I'm very excited about that. Basically, he's helping so many people, thousands and thousands of people through his business weekly. He's got a huge team. The reason why, people want answers and they're not getting them, and they go through traditional medicine and they do all these things to get their blood work correct and it looks good, but they still feel terrible. Well, if that's you, then this is something that you want to key into. And you can find out more about it by sending an email to info@mccollumwellness.com, or you can just call the office. I think there's a couple people there today, 831-459-9990, and say you want information on the event that's happening in April. We're planning on starting at about April 15th. It's going to be a month long, and it's called the prep phase of Dr. Pompa's program. And the whole purpose of this is to help, there's several, but number one, the physiological purpose is to actually open up your downstream detox pathways so you can actually get well. Now, this is one thing that Dr. Pompa's really coined, is the downstream detox pathways, because that's your colon. Most people, the majority of the people have some kind of what's called leaky gut or intestinal permeability in this country, if not the world. And that doesn't allow your body to get rid of the junk in the colon. So the liver, which filters your blood and dumps the toxins in the colon and some of it through the kidney. That's the way we get rid of the exhaust from our body producing energy, because we eat fuel in order to turn it into energy to drive the body and drive all of our systems, our immune system included. But all of those systems require the body to eliminate toxins. And when you're got a plugged exhaust pipe, your body's just not going to do well. I'll give you an example. Last week, we had a young family walk into the office. The father worked at a restaurant. He was hustling and bustling and had to step down repeatedly. Oh, you know, and as a waiter, you have all kinds of stuff in your hands. And he injured his low back to a point where he couldn't work. It just happened to be the same time his first child was born 1 month ago. And imagine the stress of having your wife in labor or about to deliver, you being hurt, wondering how you're going to care for the family. So he came in and we were able to actually help him pretty quickly. And we're working on correcting the underlying cause structurally with him. But as we were talking, we found out that this poor child, this 1 month old girl, was not able to sleep. She was squirming, never comfortable, not going to the bathroom enough. And so we talked for a minute and they were more than happy to have me check out this young child. And I love adjusting babies. One of our patients the other day said, a baby, why do they have to be adjusted? You ever taken a trip down a birth canal? It's not that easy. And in this particular case, halfway down, they decided that they had to pull her out the other way. So you got a head being pushed down the birth canal. Then you're trying to pull it out the other way. This baby's neck was so messed up. She couldn't get comfortable and her whole spine was out of alignment. So we did an adjustment on her. We've adjusted her 3 times now, but the mom said that she went home and the baby pooped, I think 6 or 7 times that day. And then after we adjusted her the second time, she pooped 3 times. Now it's a 1 month old. Oftentimes, parents are told it's normal for a kid to poop every 4 days. It's normal, yeah. It's not healthy, but it's normal. So when you turn on the nervous system's power to eliminate the toxins, the magic happens. This baby smiled after his adjustment the other day. We got done adjusting the dad and the baby, and he goes, look, she's smiling. And that was amazing. And the mom said she slept 2 nights ago. She'd been squirming and keeping him awake since she's been born. There might have been 1 or 2 nights that they might have got some sleep, but the baby didn't squirm because the nervous system was opened up and the baby's doing well. So, you know, it's pretty amazing when you look at just that, how simple it is to get the nervous system working on a 1 month old so that the body can do what it's supposed to do, which is to keep you healthy so that you can continue to produce energy and thrive. So the thing with Dr. Pompa, and what's so cool about this program we're doing, and you should really look into starting it. There's where Dr. Pompa's office is going to be involved in it. The health center staff is involved in it. We are getting the platinum carpet rolled out to my patients or anybody in the audience. And you don't have to live local to do this, but it is going to be pretty amazing because Dr. Pompa will be teaching you. And you will be put into what's called the portal for the prep phase. Now, doesn't anybody want to go through a portal? How cool is that? You know, I mean, you hear about it all the time on sci-fi things. You get to go through a portal and something else happens. Well, this portal, you just come out healthier. That's pretty cool. So anyway, it's going to be April 15th, but you got to sign up ahead of time. There's new supplements involved, which are the top supplements on the planet. And I've talked about this before, and I'm so happy that our office gets to be the ones to roll this out. And the supplements, Dr. Pompa, all of the supplements, or 90% of them, been grown on a farm that's never had fertilizer on it. The earth has never been tilled. There's no pesticides on it. There's 6 feet of original topsoil still there, and they rotate the animal crops throughout the fields to put in the natural fertilizers that would normally get. So first of all, any of the herbs and even the glandulars from the cows that live on there that we get are 100% pure, about as pure as they can get. There's about 100 farms in the world like this. Not only that, but he takes the herbs and the plants and he grows mushrooms on them. Things like lion's mane, which we already know is good for the brain. And he grows things like turmeric on it, ginkgo biloba, various other herbs to extract the active ingredients out of the herbs that you can't get by just digesting it yourself. The mushrooms have a way of digesting the food so that we can get the nutrients out of it that would never be available before. Basically, fungus digests everything on the planet. There's the mycelium, which is the matrix under the ground of all the different mushrooms. They communicate throughout the planet, and that is life, right? So we now have these mycelium extracting nutrients that are in the supplements that you're going to be given during this prep phase to open up your detox pathways. Now, another thing, people's guts are so messed up, even if you think you have a pretty good gut, you probably need help. He also has done a fermentation process, and by fermenting the herbs or the plants, you also make it more digestible. So when it gets into a damaged digestive tract from the throat, stomach down, it's very difficult and takes a lot of energy for our body to digest some of these things. So the fermentation process on top of the mycelium is it's amazing availability that these have. So this is what's available. And I'm so happy that my patients who want to opt into this are going to be benefiting it. And we're actually getting it at an amazing price based on what Dr. Pompa would normally charge in his Pompa program for this particular thing. It's phenomenal. And not only that, but you got Dr. Pompa teaching you all the way through the first month. And, you know, as he says, and I coined this phrase myself, but we want to teach you to fish, not give you a fish. So the idea is by the time you get through this first prep phase, you are going to, not only your body will feel better because these supplements are amazing, but you're going to be well prepared for the rest of your life. You know, I started off the show with Frank Sinatra, right? Singing That's Life, you know, and I've been a pauper, a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn, and a king. I've been up and down and over and out. And I know one thing. Now, one thing is you're going to keep living, and you might as well get your body in the best shape possible so that you can enjoy it. So the prep phase, you can go to info@mccollumwellness.com, and Mariah will send you some information. And if it makes sense, you can get in line to get into the portal. Again, who wouldn't want to go through a portal? I do. Sounds like fun to me. And especially when you come back out of it a lot better and you can turn back your biological clock, like my book, Turn Back Your Biological Clock, which Dr. Pompa wrote the foreword in, by the way. So this is the good news, and I'm very excited about it. You know, I was talking about all chronic disease is caused by chronic inflammation. Dr. Pompa says you got to fix the cell to get well, and the reason the cell is unhealthy is because the cell membrane is inflamed. Chronic inflammation. Hormones cannot attach to the cell when you have chronic inflammation. The receptor sites for all the vitamins and minerals and enzymes can't penetrate the cell because of the chronic inflammation around the cell. So you got to fix a cell to get well. More correctly, you have to fix a cell wall to get well. And this is what Dr. Pompa will be walking us through. So I'm very excited about that. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is what does chronic disease, what's the culminating end product of chronic disease? Well, we all know what the penultimate is, but typically when you have chronic disease, you end up with something called peripheral neuropathy. Neuropathy is when the nerves that are already outside of your spine start to wither. They're losing nutrition, they're losing the vitamins and minerals that they need, losing other enzymes and all these other fancy termed things that they need in order to survive, because the blood supply is getting cut off to these nerves, especially in the toes and the hands, and even the organs. People who have bladder issues or digestive issues or even lung issues, oftentimes the nerves themselves are damaged, and there's a neuropathy, which means a problem with the nerve coming from out of the spine to the organ communicating to or from. So when we look at peripheral neuropathy, we've had amazing results. If you've been listening to the show, amazing results with peripheral neuropathy. I'm going to give you two examples right now, because again, chronic inflammation leads to chronic disease. All roads, all chronic disease lead to peripheral neuropathy. Peripheral neuropathy is numbness, tingling, saran wrap feeling, walking on marshmallows, hot, cold, burning, tingling, don't want to walk on uneven surfaces, don't want to go be around people because you're clumsy on your feet, afraid to walk on, go to the park or on the beach. Peripheral neuropathy. It's destroying people's lives. And when Frank Sinatra talks about, that's life, I tell you, you can't deny it. I thought of quitting, baby, but my heart just ain't gonna buy it. And if you think it was worth one single try, I'd jump right up in a big band and I'd fly, and Big Bird and fly. Anyway, this whole song about That's Life talks about the ups and downs, but here you are today. Today, you can make a new start. You can always make a new start. It's what you think about, you talk about, you bring about. So the peripheral neuropathy program, one woman, I think I've talked about her before, and we've got dozens of people on this program. Everybody's getting results, okay? And some of them dramatically. I'll tell you one of them. This been less than 3 months, and this woman is a centurion queen, whatever it is. She rides horses for 100-mile rides. That's what she does. Equestrian, whatever. And so anyway, she hasn't been able to ride horses for, I think it's been a few years, because her feet were so non-responsive and so numb, and they hurt so much that she couldn't sit in a saddle and support her feet in the stirrup because of it. So she found her way into our office in December. We did all her examinations and the neurological evaluations we do. There's 8 different things that we test. And we found that, yeah, she had pretty severe peripheral neuropathy, up to 50% loss in nerve function in her feet. We put her on all of the program that we do. Thursday, Dr. Taylor called me in and said, hey, you have to hear what this patient has to say. She came up to the front and said, I rode for 3 hours this weekend. I went up to Wilder Ranch and we rode horses for 3 hours, even got stuck in, quicksand mud, and my feet never hurt. And she was very happy. And she goes, that's not all. I feel so good. I'm going on a 3-day ride this over Easter. We'll be riding 25 miles a day for 3 days. That's 75 miles. So take somebody who couldn't ride a horse to within 3 months going on close to a centennian ride, 100-mile ride, only 75 miles only. That's pretty amazing. Another woman we retested Friday, and she was 57% loss of nerve function in one foot, and I forget what it was less in the other one. We retested her. It's been 3 months. She has an 80% improvement in the neurological findings in both feet in just that amount of time. Now that's extraordinary, but it's possible, and that's what can happen with the peripheral neuropathy program. All roads lead to peripheral neuropathy. But the thing about it is, peripheral neuropathy is a downstream symptom. All of those things, and you have to fix it. They have to be corrected. The downstream problems based on the nerves dying because of lack of oxygen will steal your life. And that's life, right? No denying it, but you can turn it around. We've proven this. And we'll let you know whether we think we can with you if you want to get in. But beyond that, not only are we fixing the downstream problem, the peripheral neuropathy. But now with Dr. Dan Pompa at the helm, using our office as the first one of us 40 platinum doctors to go, we're rolling this out with you, McCollum, because we know you're ready for it. We know you're ready to help your patients with it. So we're doing it. What this is going to do is find the upstream cause of the peripheral neuropathy. Maybe it's known, maybe it's not, but we are going to figure out how to improve and detoxify whatever's causing the inflammation to correct the downstream problem. Now, it's years, not months, but you got to understand that so many times, and you'll hear Dr. Pomper talk about this if you start the program with us, he's going to say so many people will go get a cleanse off a shelf or do a 30-day cleanse, or they'll go do an 11-day, or they'll do, I did a cleanse once, I detox once, and he just shakes his head and goes, it's not once, it's for a lifetime. There's 250 billion pounds of toxins dumped on the planet every year. We're getting sicker. Look at our planet. Look at what the United States health is. We were 47th, now we're 50th in the world for health. We spend $4.3 trillion on health in this country every year, 4.3 trillion. And they even admit of it, all of the powers that be admit that 70% of that money goes to covering up symptoms. The treatment for peripheral neuropathy is things like gabapentin. I saw something in the paper, and hopefully if you saw this, you just read about it. And if you went to this thing, then, you know, I want you to listen. You can do whatever you want to do. I can't prescribe or de-prescribe medication. But this was a workshop. It was a peripheral neuropathy support group. Support groups mean you have it, it's not going to ever go away. Let's just support it along the way, right? Now, people do need that, but if you're not fixing the problem, then you're you know, up the creek. So this, when you read it, they're talked about to find out whether inner spinous stimulators would be right for you. So what they do, and I've had a couple patients with this, both of them turned them off because they're the machine, the battery powered machine, just like a pacemaker, which is important. But this is a battery powered machine they put in your back in one side or the other, and then they attach wires to the nerves coming out of your spine, and they do something like that to deaden the feeling of the neuropathy. Now tell me, is that fixing anything? If I had a rock in my shoe and I kept walking on it and it got sore and I just shot it up with Novocaine and kept walking on it, am I fixing anything? No, I'm making things worse. And pretty soon it's going to blister and fester. And then I end up getting bad infections, and it can get into septicemia and all these types of things. Anyway, you can tell I'm a little lit up. I woke up at 2:30 this morning and I just couldn't sleep because I'm so excited about what Dr. Pompa is going to be helping us do. So if you're interested in finding out how to help him help you, walk you through the first month of his program, you want to email info@mccollumwellness.com or call right now, 831-459-9990. They're going to be there and say, I want to get the information so you can find out whether or not this is a program for you. And we can also look at your application and find out whether or not we think we can help you. So anyway, that's pretty cool. So in our office, again, this is Dr. Duncan McCollum, McCollum Family Chiropractic in Capitola. We don't stop trying to find ways to help people. In fact, in the last month, I've added 3 new pieces of equipment to 2 of them specifically to help get even better results with peripheral neuropathy. So this is such a big issue for people of all ages. The youngest person we have with peripheral neuropathy had terrible chemical poisoning, and her feet, she couldn't use them and she would fall continually. And then we've treated, even before we had this protocol together, which is amazing now, we've worked on people in their late 90s and even up into their hundreds with the TRT machine, the stem cell machine that we have in the office. And that also is part of the program to help peripheral neuropathy. But it's so much more grand than that now. It's something that you really want to consider doing. So Dr. Pompa, some of the stuff that he's going to talk about, and by the way, when you sign up and get into the portal, Dr. Pompa's program portal, it's not mine. This is put together by the people that have the fastest growing nutritional wellness platform on the planet right now. They're growing leaps and bounds. Why? Because people need it. They're tired of not getting answers. They're tired of having things either covered up or not being listened to. So one of the things he's going to go over, well, I'm going to just hold this up. You can get this on the website, McCollumWellness.com. You can ask it to be sent to you by calling 831-459-9990 and talking to Mariah or Natalie. But this says, reset with us. Join us for our spring detox. Dr. McCollum and Dr. Pompa, core cellular detox and the prep phase. Dr. Pompa will be explaining to you what is actually making you sick and why you're not getting well, why you have bad genes turn on, and what you can do to turn them off. I tried to do it myself for years. It's just great to have him stepping in and going, here, let me help. And I'm excited for it. So to continue to read this, if you ever experience brain fog, lack of energy, pain, inflammation, lack of mental clarity, well, I still do that, sluggishness, stubborn body fat, anybody have trouble losing weight, weight loss resistance, insomnia, peripheral neuropathy, well, there you go, I already talked about that, or restless leg syndrome, which is really a part of peripheral neuropathy. Dr. Dan Pompa, cellular healing expert, will be leading us through his 5R program. And I'm going to talk about what the 5 R's are in a couple minutes here as we open up our downstream detox pathways. So first R number 1, remove the source. So through the process, we're going to learn for ourselves how to spot what the sources are and also start eliminating the continued accumulation of toxins by us not understanding what we're putting into our body. It might be simply something you're putting under your arms, detergent you're using, things that you're eating, air that you're breathing, the little smelly things in your house that make things smell better. All these things are chemicals that have a buildup. And once your cup gets too full, once this thing fills up, you get sick. Bad genes turn on because the cells can't detoxify. And Dr. Pompa will be talking about that. We have to learn how to, the second R, regenerate the cell membrane. Dr. Bruce Lipton says the cell membrane is the smartest part in the body, the cell membrane. It knows what to let in and what to let out, it knows when to run, when to hide, and when to fold them, right? However that song goes. So we need to get rid of the toxic oils in our cell membrane that are crispy and crunchy, causing inflammation so that the hormones can't get into the cells, can't attach to the cells, so that vitamins, minerals, and nutrients can't get into the cells. And as importantly, if not more importantly, the toxins that are caused and created inside the cell as it's making energy, as it's burning either glucose or ketones, it's creating exhaust, just like our car. And that has to get out of the cell. And a crusty cell membrane won't allow it to get out of the cell. So that's the second R. He's going to really get you to understand what you need to do to regenerate the cell membrane in your own body. You only have 75 trillion cells, so this might be important to take care of some of them. Restore cellular energy, this third R. So how do you restore cellular energy? Well, number 1, the mitochondria is the power plant or the carburetor inside the cells. You have millions or billions and billions and trillions of trillions of them. The eyeball and the heart have the most amount of mitochondria per cell. And, those things burn fuel. They have a cell wall too. And that cell wall has to be functioning correctly. We need to restore not only the cell, the membrane of the cell, but also the membrane of the mitochondria. And then restoring cellular energy. That was number 3. So we restore the energy by making the machine work better, making the cells burn better. Think about a car with a leaky gas tank and a leaky carburetor and blue smoke blowing out the exhaust pipe. You're rattle trapping down the street. When you tune it up, you're going to get much better mileage out of that car. Well, cars are made of metal. Your cells are made of life. So if you do the right thing, you have this innate intelligence inside your body. It's the smartest, the most brilliant physician who ever lived is your innate intelligence living inside of you. And it's going to be happier than a clam that we are doing this so it can get well. It wants to be well. You know, we've come through 5 years of HE double hockey sticks, right? And it's time to put it aside and start to dream again. You know, if you can't dream, then you might as well start dreaming. That's what I say, start dreaming. And the fifth R is reduce cellular inflammation and reduce inflammation. What did we say is the cause of disease? Inflammation. Chronic inflammation in the body causes chronic disease. So that's the fourth R. And we're going to do this by opening up the detox pathways for one. And he's going to talk about the fact that food and diet alone won't do this anymore. It might have years and decades ago, but we've got so many heavy metals and molds hidden in our cells and in our brain specifically, and in the pituitary gland, which actually helps the hormones function, makes the hormones, that our bodies can't do it until we get the foot off of the accelerator of those organs to work right. And we need to do that by getting rid of the inflammation so that the body can function well. Now, you don't need more insulin. You don't need more estrogen. You don't need more progesterone. Don't stop if you're taking it medically. You just need the body to hear the amount it's making. Oftentimes, you know, if you're in a family, anybody ever been in a family? Don't raise your hands if you're driving. Okay. When somebody doesn't listen, what do? Raise your voice. When they don't listen again, what do? Raise your voice some more. And maybe you'll get through to it or not. When the cells can't hear the hormones or they can't absorb the nutrients because of the inflammation, the body's tendency is to produce more of the hormones. So in the case of diabetes, your pancreas is working so much overtime that it's on full tilt and it's still not enough insulin anymore because the cells are too stubborn to get it in. They're too inflamed. So you go to the medical doctor. What do? Give you more insulin. More insulin, what does this do? It causes something called hyperinsulinemia, too much insulin in the blood. What's diabetes type 3? It's called hyperinsulinemia. What's another name for diabetes type 3 or hyperinsulinemia? Alzheimer's disease. So too much insulin in the blood, which you might be having to do because your cells can't hear the little bit of insulin it should hear. So you've dumped bucket loads in there, is causing too much insulin in the blood that's getting into the brain, that's laying down plaque, that's adding to the mental issues that we have going on, the brain fog and, you know, ultimately dementia or Alzheimer's. So we want to be able to make sure that we get the inflammation out of the body. And this program, in this 1-month program, Dr. Pompa is going to be teaching you the steps you need to go to make this happen. Now, he'll tell you right off the bat, it's years, not months. You're going to have to learn how to change this. Like people with peripheral neuropathy, they come in, they understand that this has been progressing for maybe 15, 20 years before it actually started to create a problem for them. And they know there isn't a quick fix. They're tired of taking the medication that they're prescribed to cover up the symptoms. And there is no magic pill. That is what has basically is killing us, is we're all looking for the magic pill, a cure for cancer, right? Really, the cure for cancer is prevention. What causes cancer? It's too much growth of too many bad cells too quickly, unstopped by your body's own ability to stop them. We all have millions of cancer cells in our body every day, and our body kills them. That's good. We need to have our body be strong enough to fight off these bad things. And, you know, without that, it's called hormesis, where our body is stressed to a point that it has to adapt to that stress. And then you need to take the stress away and let the body rebound. And this is a very key term you'll learn about by Dr. Pompa called hormesis, where we're going to challenge and then reach and withdraw from the body's different functions, from its immune system, from the different organs and things, so that they can get stronger and hardened like diamonds. You know, what it takes a lot of force and stress to make diamonds. So a body that's weak, a body that hasn't been put to the elements, is just going to be weak. So anyway, that's the fourth R. And the fifth R is reestablish methylation. Now that's kind of a big word. What that basically needs is allowing the body to do what it's supposed to do, which is to run the machine of the 75 trillion cells and all the organs and all the systems and be able to detoxify it at the same time. So you're feeding it the nutrients it needs and you're detoxifying it. That's a lot. That's going to be in this month. And you can register for this. You can find out about it. We'll be rolling out the specifics. Again, we're working, if any of you have done some of this stuff with me in the past, it's been me in my office, my wonderful staff of 3 or 4, doing our due diligence to try to help you guys get the understanding so you can learn how to keep your body healthy. This is a whole new ballgame. We got Dr. Dan Pompa at the helm, teaching the class. And not only that, we're going to be presenting a lot of great dietary things for you along the way. We'll be rolling out some of the recipes that we've used in the other classes so you can learn how to eat healthy. There'll be this video showing how it's made and recipes along the way, because we really want to give you the tools that you need. And here's something. A lot of times people go, yeah, I know all about that. Yeah, I know about that. Well, knowing about it and being able to do it are two different things. You got the wise people that think they know this and that, but until they've done it, it's just, they're really good at knowing about it. This is something that you need to dig your teeth into. There's going to be some ups and downs along the way. Your body's going to be going through some changes, which is what we want. It's going to be detoxifying your colon, your kidney, different organs, your skin may there might be some issues coming up with it. And that's what we want. We want your body to be able to overcome the toxins that are stuck in there that are making you sick. Thyroid disease, cellular inflammation. Dr. Pompa will be addressing thyroid disease and how cellular inflammation has so much to do with that. Autoimmune disease, cellular inflammation, the body's fighting itself. It thinks it's the enemy. All these digestive disorders, Crohn's disease, irritable bowel syndrome, all of these things are your body's inability to overcome the stresses of the external environment pressed in on your internal environment. And, there's different types of stress. There's mental stress for sure. There's physical stress, which is, the structure of the body and the organs and the skin and the integrity of it, of course. And the chiropractic portion of that addresses this so well, especially in our office, because we do corrective chiropractic care. And then the second one is the nutritional aspect, or the chemistry. And if you don't have the right chemistry, nothing is going to work right. You got to get the toxins out of your body for the cell to function well. You got to fix the cell to get well. First thing you have to do is clean out the downstream detox pathways. The lymphatic system is the sewer system in your body. You may or may not have heard of it. We have about 4 liters of blood rolling through our body, and each blood cell goes through this finger 4 to 5 times a minute. So every blood cell goes through the same organ 4 to 5 times a minute. You have 5 times as much lymphatic fluid in your body than you have blood. So you have 20 liters of lymphatics in your body, 20 liters, splashing up against every one of those 75 trillion cells, going through between the fascia and between every single muscle fiber, collecting the cellular toxins and putting that out into a larger lymphatic system that needs to be drained up into the heart so it can be pushed out through the liver and kidney. The lymphatic systems are rudely damaged in our country. The chronic swelling in the extremities or around different organs is poor lymphatic drainage. So the first phase, the prep phase, is going to be addressing the downstream detox pathways, and you're going to get a lot of tips for what you can do to help this. Now, I think it's going to be, a no-brainer to do this, and I really recommend that you look into it. We can only run so many people through it. we're getting a huge discount on Dr. Pompa's price because we're doing it through our office. And I want you to be able to take part of it. So, I also was listening to a song today by Joni Mitchell. And, it's the Clouds song. So many things I would have done, but the clouds got in the way. Rose and flows and angels' wings and ice cream castles in the air and feather canyons everywhere. I looked at clouds that way, but now they seem to block the sun. They rain and snow on everyone. So many things I would have done, but clouds got in my way. So clouds can be a beautiful thing or they can get in your way. Life can be a beautiful thing or you can let it get in your way. Your health can be a beautiful thing or you can let it get in your way. So I really am so excited. I'm on the show to help you get healthier. That's why I'm here, because when you win, my office wins, my staff wins, your family wins, and you have a much brighter world out there. And that's the whole goal. For anybody that is still interested in the peripheral neuropathy program, we do have a special. You can also find out about this, the peripheral neuropathy, because that's a downstream damage that's been done because of chronic inflammation for too many years. Now, diabetes, #1 cause of peripheral neuropathy. Those little capillaries get clogged at the tips of your toes with those sticky blood vessels. Those sticky blood cells, the red blood cells, can't get through the capillary at the tip of your toes and it clogs it. No blood circulation, no oxygen, no life. So when you lose oxygen to the tips of your toes or your fingers or any organs, they're going to start to die. You can't live without oxygen. You can't live without a nerve supply. Your nerves need oxygen to survive. So as the circulation in your toes or hands or to some of the organs starts to lessen, those nerves start to die. The tissue in your toes start to die or your fingers. Then the bones start to die. This is what happens. If you've known anybody like this, I'm sorry for them. I'm happy that we now have some solutions for this thing called peripheral neuropathy. We can regrow the peripheral nerves and we can help get the oxygenation that they need back by going through a series of programs put together by Dr. Dan McClinen. I had him on the show a few weeks ago, but we've now been doing it for about 6 months and remarkable results. So if you want, you have a $99 special to come in and do the peripheral neuropathy testing. We do the infrared, the thermographic imaging, as well as 7 different standardized neurologic tests to find out the sensory deficit in your hands and feet. That also includes spinal x-rays so that we can look for physical conditions that can also be affecting the peripheral nerves. And it also does include, as long as there's a medical reason not to do it, it also includes one of the tissue regenerative therapy treatments, one TRT treatment, because we want you to experience what it is that we can do and how your body can heal. So everybody that signed up for this has had results already. Pretty remarkable. So again, on April 15th, we're starting the prep phase with Dr. Dan Pompa at the helm. You want to be part of this. info@mccollumwellness.com or call 831-459-9990, 831-459-9990. There's a whole bunch of 9s with a 0 at the end. 45, a bunch of 9s with a 0 at the end. 831-459-9990. You don't have to live locally to go through this program, because I know a lot of my listeners are all over the country. And I just want to make sure that everybody has a chance to do this, because nowhere else on the country is Dr. Pompa putting this program out into a doctor's office, except for mine right now. In the future, I'm sure, once we have rolled it out and, and got the kinks ironed out, which aren't the program, it's just the mechanics of it, then I'm sure he wants to put it into the other offices of the platinum doctors, of which there's about 40 or 45 now, because he can only do so much and his office can only do so much. And he's been changing the lives of people for so long. He wants us, I've been with him for 7 years, the loyal platinum doctors that have gone through thick and thin with him. We've tested many of the products and the protocols. We've worked through them. many of the doctors, and some of them one of us does and somebody else does, but he's the man that puts it together, brings in the scientists, has brought in the mycelium to grow the mushrooms. We grow in the mushrooms on these incredible herbs that are grown on a unpolluted farm. The glandulars, if needed, come from the cattle or animals that are grown on this 5,000 acre farm that have never seen a cultivated blade or a pesticide or herbicide in its life. It's still virgin soil, 6 feet of virgin top soil, and they're preserving it very coolly. So if you don't know about Dr. Pompa, look him up. Pompa, Dr. Dan Pompa, the Pompa program. And, I think you're going to be very happy with what we're doing, because it's going to allow you to do this at a reduced price right now. And it's only going to be for a short time. But you're going to come out of this thing with so much information and your body's going to be so ready to heal. We're going to talk about what it will take to get the downstream detox pathways open, and then also what it's going to take for you to really get your body back going the way you want it to do. Remember what, Frank Sinatra says. He says he's been a pauper, a poet, a pauper. I'll start again. A puppet, a poet, a pauper, a pirate, a pawn, and a king. He's been up and down and over and out, and he knows one thing. Each time he finds himself flat on his face, he gets back up and gets back in the race. It's time to get back in the race. Is your life to just be lived? And maybe it's perfect for you, just kind of quietly. But I think that life is to be lived personally. And if that light has dimmed, there's a dimmer switch on your belly. Just find it and turn it on, and turn that power and that imagination back on. There's living to be done. The people with peripheral neuropathy know this the best, because they're losing their freedoms. They're losing their ability to be with their grandchildren after all the work they've done and all the years they've put on this planet to try to get to the golden years where they can enjoy their lives. And now here they are, becoming a prisoner of their own body because of this chronic inflammation from chronic disease that's causing peripheral neuropathy and stopping them from enjoying their life. So I'm very, very happy and excited that my path has brought me here, because we have so many answers that 10 years ago I didn't have. And when I met Dr. Pompa in 2017, prior to that, I'd worked with many incredible scientists, guys that even worked with Linus Pauling, Dr. Jeffrey Bland. And when the UCSC unraveled human DNA, we thought, this is it. It's the SNPs. It ain't the SNPs. It's chronic inflammation. There's 3 things that cause it. Heavy metals, we get 4 generations down through mom's umbilical blood. We also get it through heavy metals, molds, which are everywhere. Chemicals like glyphosate, there's 276 chemicals, 278 chemicals the environmental work group found in children who had babies that haven't even lived outside the womb yet. We're coming into this life with both hands tied behind our back health-wise. Some even have their feet shackled. So we can unshackle those, unchain your heart, unchain your health. And let's make it a happy day. So here's Joni Mitchell again. I've looked at love from both sides now, from give and take, and still somehow it's love's illusion that I recall. I really don't know love. I really don't know love at all. Tears and fears and feeling proud to say I love you right out loud. Dreams and schemes and circus crowds. I've looked at life that way. But now old friends, they're acting strange. Have your friends been acting strange this last few years? Oh, but now old friends are acting strange, and they shake their heads and they tell me that I've changed. Well, something's lost, but something gained in living every day. I've looked at life from both sides now, from win and lose, and still somehow it's life illusions I recall. I really don't know life at all. It's life's illusions that I recall. I really don't know life. I really don't know life at all. So it's time to know it. You know, you've got today is the first day of the rest of your life. I recommend that you open your eyes. I'll tell you what, close your eyes for a second and then open, unless you're driving, don't do this. Open your eyes. It's a brand new day. So it's a brand new day. What are you going to do today for the rest of your life to make the rest of your life an amazing experience? Well, get your body's health together. Join the Pampa program thing we're doing at my office. Info at McCollum Family Chiropractic. I'm excited about it because I now have the leader in the whole world helping my office specifically getting your body's downstream pathways open. Not only doing that, but showing you why and how that got where it is and what you need to do to reverse it. So I'm very excited about it. And I hope that enough of you are going to take advantage of it because it's probably a one-time offer at what we're being able to do it for. But you got to get in. There's the portal is amazing. We're getting into the portal of the largest, fastest healthcare trend on the planet right now. Dr. Pampa's program, the Pampa program, is straight up and vertical because people want answers. They're not getting answers anywhere. So this is where you can get the answers. You get in the portal. I said earlier on the show, I want to go through a portal. Let's see what's on the other side. The other side is going to be a healthier, better you. And I really hope that you take advantage of it. My staff has already started it. Everyone in my office has started this program because we want to know the ups and downs, the ins and outs. We want to have looked at the detox from both sides now, from up and down. And these supplements that Dr. Pampa put together with a mushroom being grown on the mushrooms are phenomenal. Nothing like it on the planet. A patented, third-party tested for all toxins. The minerals that he's produced, none on the planet like it, third-party tested. So you're not going and getting something off the shelf, hoping that it's potent, hoping that it is not toxic and it isn't loaded up with heavy metals and molds. So my book, Turn Back Your Biological Clock, Dr. Pampa wrote the foreword to it a few years ago, but it really kind of tells a story of some of you, of how your body slowly lost its health and then what you need to do to bring it back to health. And I hope you enjoy it. It's available on Amazon. And it's been a whirlwind today. I woke up at 2:30. My mind just couldn't stop. I couldn't stop thinking about everything I wanted to tell you. And I only got a third of it done. But you should definitely info at McCollum Family Chiropractic, MCCOLLUM, and just say, hey, there's somebody there right now, I think, 831-459-9990. But you can join this program and be part of it. And been fun today. I'm going to go enjoy the sun while it's out, and the show will replay Monday at 3 to 4. So if somebody needs to listen to it, have them listen to it then. You can go to McCollum Wellness Radio podcasts and hear my podcasts again. And, just come into the office and say hi. Gratitude, vitamin G. I meant to talk about vitamin G today. The most amazing vitamin on the planet is vitamin G, 100% gratitude. Find 10 things that you're grateful for. Better yet, find one thing you're grateful for and embellish it and live for it and create it. Okay, Dave's at the helm. We'll see y'all later next week. Thanks. Call.
But if there's nothing shaking coming here tonight, I'm gonna roll myself up in a big ball
And live.
News this hour from